Somewhere in the archives of New Eridu, there's a file with names on it. Not just any names, the names. 7 of them. Originally, the first generation of the very first Void Hunters ever recruited. You know of them. You've heard of them. Tales of how they became legends. And now, 2 are confirmed to be alive. Sunbringer and Remielle. Since I've talked about Sunbringer in one of my videos, our main focus in this one is Remielle Dan and a little sprinkle on Sigrid. Remielle Dan. Before you knew her as anything else, the files called her Lieutenant Colonel Dan. A rank that tells you she wasn't just fighting Hollows, she was commanding people who did. She's one of the original 7. The first generation of agents to carry the title of Void Hunter back when the title meant something different than it does today. Back before Miyabi, before Yuzhuan, and Xiaoguang. The current roster you know by name. Then, for some reason, she disappeared. Not killed, not retired. Just gone. No records, no sightings. A gap in New Eridu's memory that nobody could explain. Until version 2.7 dropped, when a name buried in the Hollow Champions event resurfaces. Remielle. A woman in a black cloak walking the streets of the city that shouldn't know her. So, where is she? This is where it gets strange. Because when Remielle resurfaces in the present day, she's not affiliated with the New Eridu's usual functions. She's not with the Cunning Hairs, not with public security, or with any of the names you'd expect a first generation hunter. Because she's affiliated with something called the Covenant of Diet. Nobody has ever talked about the Covenant of Diet. It isn't even in the faction's dietary, which means one or two things. It's either something that grew in the years she was missing, or it's old enough that New Eridu buried it on purpose. Either way, it makes her one of the strangest returns New Eridu has ever reckoned with. A war hero from a generation ago now is wanted as an S-class fugitive walking through a door nobody else knows exists. But here's the strange detail that should actually worry you. In her current story appearance, Remielle keeps circling back to one subject. Not the Hollows, not the Covenant. Sunbringer. If you've watched our 3 Sunbringer video, you already know that name is a knot. Not just a person. 3 fragments of something that used to be whole. One of which, Linvern, now runs the Airspace Patrol Department over in Roscaelifer. A first generation Void Hunter, missing for years, resurfaces obsessed with the one entity in this entire story that's already been split into pieces. That's not a coincidence. That's a thread. And it's not the only one pulling towards Roscaelifer right now. Because at the exact same time Remielle steps back onto the stage, someone else is stepping on it for the first time. Sigrid de Lazier, Deputy Administrative Director of the Airspace Patrol Department. The department Linvern leads. The department built to guide Roscaelifer's skies. On duty, the files paint her exactly how you expect. Strict, disciplined, a soldier's soldier, wielding a spear and shield like she was born holding them. Off duty, the same fire admits that she likes baking and she knits. It's almost funny how ordinary that sounds next to everything else in the story. But ordinarily, that is exactly what makes her interesting. Sigrid isn't chasing Sunbringer. She's standing beside one of her fragments, day after day, reporting to a piece of the very thing Remielle can't stop thinking about. One woman frustrated by the mystery from the outside. One woman embedded with one of the fragments. And they are arriving in New Eridu in the same breath. So, ask yourself what that means. Is Remielle's disappearance connected to Sunbringer's fracture in the first place? Was the Covenant of Diet built around the same event that split Sunbringer into three? Did she vanish looking for answers and is only now close enough to find them? And if Sigrid has been standing inside Lindvern's chain of command this whole time, what has she seen that she hasn't said out loud? We don't have those answers yet. Version 3.1 hasn't even landed. But when a war hero from the first generation resurfaces obsessed with the split god, and the person guarding that god's fragment arrives at the exact same moment, that's not two separate character reveals. That's one story, told from two directions. We'll be tracking both of them the second Roscaelifer story chapters go live. If you want to be there when the pieces start locking into place, please subscribe and like the video. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. And go watch the 3 Sunbringer video if you haven't yet, because I promise you, it's about to matter a lot more than you think.